check out this state-of-the-art gaffer tape scope mount and check out these 3 reasons that'll do just fine for your hunting needs. Number 1, it's good enough if you don't use a checklist for shooting. If you don't run through checks to ensure your sights are dialed in and your shooting precision is sound, well, then you might as well mount your scope with gaffer tape because you're neglecting precision in the first place. Reason number 2, a gaffer tape scope mount is good enough if you don't establish your natural point of aim. If you don't check your natural point of aim, chances are that you'll make a poor shot and potentially wound an animal someday. In that case, well, even the best scope mount would have been a complete waste of dollar bills. And you might as well have used a roll of this stuff. Okay, let's pause for a moment before we get to point 3. I assume you're getting the drift by now. I'm not a fan of using a gaffer tape scope mount. In a moment I'll show you what's actually underneath the tape here and why I've chosen it. But here's the point I want to make, and I'm making that point as someone who loves high quality hunting gear and as someone who has been seduced by high quality gear in the past. So here's my point. I want you to buy every single piece of hunting gear on a foundation of skills and knowledge. The 3 reasons or excuses I'm using for a gaffer tape scope mount in this video are things you should really be on top of, or at least have a plan for before you get lost down some gear rabbit hole. I know it because I've made the mistake in the past, but I've also solved the problem for myself. I've got several checklists and a framework to help you avoid this problem yourself. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, so just to hammer the message home, here's the 3rd reason before we rip the tape off and talk about the scope mount I use. Reason number 3, taping your scope mount onto your rifle with gaffer tape probably won't be an issue if you haven't perfected your trigger pull. If you yank the trigger or follow misguided advice like the one I've made a video about, then chances are that even the best scope mount in the world would have been a waste of money. Enough said. What mount do I use? Let's get that tape off. Hand on heart, I've gone way overboard with this one. You don't need this kind of sturdy mount on a hunting rifle. This mount is a Spur IS MS. It is as solid as a scope mount gets and is repeatable. If I take it off and reinstall it correctly, it's bang on the money again. It is also a little on the bulky side. My excuse is that this scope has a 36mm tube, which is a little unusual for a hunting rifle scope, making it difficult to get a regular scope mount. But as I said, this one it'd be a little over the top and it's not cheap. In case you want another option, I've used worn QD mounts on my rifles in the past, and I only have great things to say about them. By the way, this rifle is a little bit of a pick and mix. Started out as a Bergara Wilderness thumbhole steel, but I've switched the stock out for a PSE carbon stock, the new Evolution stock. So subscribe to the channel if you want more details on this setup. Whatever scope mount you end up using, make sure you practice your shooting skills to make the mount worth the investment, and of course to ensure you don't end up wounding or missing an animal. As I said, Spur mount is great, but it's probably a little more than you need for your hunting rifle. There are plenty of great options out there.